All right. Welcome everybody. Let's do this again. let's try it again. This is what happens when you want to be impromptu and just get in here because you're fired up, you know? Is the law of attraction real? This is the question. Is the law of attraction real? You know, many people would say yes or no. It's never worked for me. Have I always been 100%? Yes. And I'll explain to you why you're always going to be 100%. You're always 100%. I'm just going to get into the chat just so I can be there. And, but you're always 100% with the law. Always 100%. How are you always 100%? It's the law of correspondence, as within, so without. So whatever is in you is what you are guaranteed to get. Right. There's one person here. Hello. So is the law of attraction real? Yes, it is. The way it is sold is just what it is, being sold. Silver and gold have I not, but such as I have, I give unto you. What is that telling you right now? Where does one begin with the law? You see, the law of attraction is just this little itty bitty piece. And if you only have a little itty bitty piece of what's happening, then how are you going to get the whole picture of the law? We have to begin at the beginning. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. So that means whatever it is that you are thinking about predominantly, right? What you allow yourself to think of predominantly. But how did that happen? How did your concept of yourself happen? You came out of the womb and you had a concept of yourself. You learned your concept. Who did you learn your concept from? The reason why the concept matters is because the concept is the person using the law. The concept is the person using the law consciously. Your concept of yourself. What are you aware of about you? So what makes you you? If you were raised in a situation where you know, you have that in your face all the time, you're being yelled at. You know, right now, I'll try and tone it down a little because I read a question and so many people are hurting. So many people are frustrated because they cannot get what they want. Even when they apply the technique, they still feel frustrated. And so that is because knowledge is required. The only knowledge I can give you is what I know, which is the law. So the all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. Your concept of yourself is your mind. Are you aware of you? If you're aware of you, what are you aware of about you? What are you aware of about yourself? Man, it doesn't matter where I go. It doesn't matter what I do. Nobody likes me. I can't get along with anybody. I'm not good enough. This person's prettier than me. If that is your concept of yourself, that is, you are molding and shaping you in the world. Why are you molding and shaping you in the world? Because when you squeeze an orange, only orange juice can come out. So what are you? So whatever is inside, this is the second law, correspondence, as within, so without. So if you are disgruntled with life 98% of the time, and the other 2%, you're like, it's okay. 98% of the time, that's where you're creating. And that's where you're creating from. You're always recreating you. So I understand we want to get things. Like I mentioned this morning, if you're living under the bridge, What a beautiful question. How are you supposed to really believe you're more than the low feelings you have when they are based on what you are experiencing? We've heard this commercial, I can't get a job because I have no experience. And I have no experience because I can't get a job. I can't get a job because I have no experience. And I can't get the experience because I don't have a job. So how do you really believe? You don't need to believe, you need to know. You see, those feelings, those low feelings, you picked up behaviors, you picked up perceptions. The same way you learned how to read and speak, you picked that up. So those feelings and perceptions you picked up along the way, you picked them up from people that were real close to you, your caregivers. So when you pick up those things that make you feel less than, you know what? The evidence is going to be there. Because what did you see? You see somebody not spending time with you. You see somebody not caring about you. You can't speak. You can't discern. So it must mean, because we're children, it must mean that you're somehow not valuable. But that's the only information you have to go on. So when you are taking that information in, well, this person doesn't want to be with me, so I must be worthless. No, it doesn't mean you are worthless. It means there's something that they are doing. Their actions are not a reflection of who you are. But because of their actions, this is the law of causation, because of their actions, as children, we interpret it as meaning, well, I must not be valuable. And so because you believe now, because you've seen it from someone you care about, who means a lot to you because they're your family, because their behavior said, you're not valuable. It didn't just say it once. It said it all the time. So now that thing that you believed that they said to you becomes what you know. And because now you know that you're not valuable, where are you creating from? You now know that you're not valuable. So everything you create cannot be of value because you are not saying you don't know that you are of value. So that thing, how do you really believe you are more than the low feelings? Because the low feelings are a result of what you believe. And so because that person said to you, you're not valuable by way of their actions, because actions speak louder than words. So because they said that to you and you believe them, and you believe them the second time, you believe them the third time, it now, by law of causation, because you believe yourself to not be valuable, you begin to behave as if you have no value. Not because you don't have value, but because you believe what they said. But what they said was a lie. It is a lie that you have believed this whole time. And because you believe that lie, the lie becomes the thing you know, and the thing you know is where you create from. So how do you get rid of that? You have to know that the opinion of someone does not have the power to determine your value or your worth. That's up to you now. Because as children, we don't have discernment. We don't have the power to say, that's a lie. We don't have that power because we just take in the information. But you're not a child anymore. So you have to look at it. And when you look in the mirror and you say, what a heifer lied to me. They lied. That's not true about me. But look at how long you've believed it. Look at how long you've believed it. You're going to need something to move you in the direction of you have value. Does this make sense? You're going to have to, and this is where feelings and emotions come in. You ever got so mad that you said, to hell with it, I'm done. And then something changes right away? But that's not a coincidence. That is the law of vibration. Everything moves. The power behind that movement, that emotion was so strong, it moved you. Because where did it move you to? It moved you to where you wanted to go. How do you know? Because the thing that you said, enough, I cannot take that anymore. you were looking at that and said, no, that will not do. So clearly, if you didn't want to be there, you wanted to be somewhere else. So then you moved yourself vibrationally by way of movement. You couldn't see it. In your mind, you moved yourself, and you moved yourself with such force that it had to show up in the world right like that, with an opportunity. This is why when people say, oh, you got to be happy all the time, that's not the case. You need to be sure of what you want and who you are. That's what will create. Because it's you who's creating. The law is always going to be there. So today, our job today is to accept that you have value. I do not care where you have come from and how hard your life was. I don't care. Do you know why I don't care? Not because I'm cold and unfeeling, but because it is a stick in your spokes. It is holding you back. It was a lie. It was a lie. You don't have time to believe the lie anymore. So how do you tell yourself the truth? You are good at something. You know this as well as I do. It doesn't matter if it's drawing you're good at, dancing you're good at, singing you're good at, whatever. You are good at something. Begin to tell yourself the truth about who you are, because you have the same way you believed the lie and you see the evidence of the lie. The truth is, you are good at something. Begin to see what you are good at. Begin to see what you're good at. Begin to feel good about what you are good at. Why? Because now you are moving yourself away from the lie. All anybody has to do is tell you something. I'm sitting here and I'm telling you you have value, but you don't believe me because you doubt me because you already believe something else. The only person who has the power now is you to say, you know what? I have everything to gain, because we always say, I got nothing to lose. I say it differently. You have everything to gain by knowing you have value. You have value. Your value is not my value. My value is not your value. So you can't compare your value to mine. You have to walk with the audacity that you are worth it. You are worthwhile. I read these things and they say, oh, I want this person back. They blocked me. They left me. You want them back? They blocked you and left you and abandoned you, and you want them back? Where's your value in yourself to say, I am worth more than that? I have more self-respect than that. Hey, glass house. So I know what I'm talking about. I'm living in a glass house. So today, it's not that you're not getting what you want. You don't get what you want. You get who you are. How do you know you get who you are? You reap what you sow. Let's go through the laws so you begin to understand. The law doesn't care about feelings because it does not work by way of feelings. Whether you think the law exists or not is irrelevant. It is there. Jump out of that tree. You're not going to fall up the tree. Gravity is a law. You cannot, the only way we can circumvent gravity is jet fuel. To propel yourself up and to stay up. Or Viagra, but I digress. It's the only way to defy gravity. You can circumvent it, but let the jet fuel run out. Then you must comply with law. We don't plant in winter. Why? Because the ground is hard. You plant at the most optimal time. The law is not going to change for you. So at the end of the day, this now rests in your lap. Not because you're not worthy of a good relationship or you're not worthy of money. It's this that you think you're not because somebody said it to you over and over and over again. It may not have been money that they said, you're not worth money. I wouldn't spend my money on you. I heard that. I wanted to go to school. to be a professional chef, bake and do those things. And I was told, there's no money in that. Don't spend any money on her to do that. She's not worth that. That's what I heard. So I didn't go. But it didn't remove the desire to cook and bake. I cook and bake all the time. It cannot, you see, when there's something within you already, you can't quench it. There's a thing inside of you already. It's just that the lie is so strong. So you're going to have to get in the mirror. I tell people all the time, the mirror is not there for you to just apply your makeup and look pretty. The mirror is there for you to remind yourself of your value. How do you know you have value? You're here. You have value. Period. Period. So what are you going to do? Because that question is so pivotal. How are you supposed to really believe? What makes you believe? When the things that you experience are showing you, the things you are experiencing are showing you what you believe, as within, so without. So you must always change the belief. You have to fortify yourself. How are you going to speak to yourself? If you have value, you do not sit there and go, God, you're so dumb. Why do you never get that? Why? Everybody else is prettier than me. They have more money than me. How are you talking to yourself? Are you speaking to you like you have value? No. Well, then get in the mirror and start speaking to yourself like you have value and worth. How do you do that? You look yourself in the eye and you say, you know what? I do have value. I bring value to this world. What is the evidence of that? Well, I am good at this. I am good at this. Kind of sort of good at this. But you know what? The more I practice, the better I get. The more I practice, the better I get. That is how you speak to you. But you see, we are running around and we allow ourselves to be taken in with the thing that says, oh, you just have to believe hard enough. You just have to do this technique. You are already, you see, it's not a technique. You are already living by way of law. So the way you speak to yourself, nobody knows the way you speak to yourself until they see the way you behave. As within, so without. That is the law of correspondence. Well, Angela, where's your house then? I said glass house, don't I? I live in one. Well, some things are really hard to come by. Nah, that's in the back of my head. But more and more, I begin to see myself, my own value, and I say, you know what? I can do this. You have to get up every day and do it. It is not something that falls into your lap. It's not like, how you say, well, she fell pregnant. How did you fall pregnant? You had to do something. Something was done. Action is required. How do you know? It's the law of causation. Here's real life. Ever been to Vegas and counted cards? Oh, they'll find you. How can somebody count cards? It is the law of rhythm. You will begin to see a pattern emerge in the cards. That's how come you can count them. It's not magic. It is the law of rhythm. So which pattern are you seeing yourself repeat all the time? Which pattern are you seeing yourself repeat all the time? So the way to disrupt that pattern is to form a new one. Ruby, honey, I see you. Ruby, email me again. So I can send you a link, please. I couldn't find the email again. It drove me nuts. There is a rhythm to you. There's a rhythm to what you do. Look for it. You'll see it because it will make you say things like, why? Why am I doing this? Why me? Why does this always happen to me? Why is it happening for somebody else and not me? Are they better than me? No, they're not better than you. They're not better than you. We're not in competition with each other. We have to stop that as well, because that is part of the lie that we've been told. So Your value in yourself is what will propel you every day to behave like you have value. But Angela, I have been trying. I have done this. I have done that. I've done the next. I've done the third. I've done it all, Angela. I've spent so much money learning techniques. It's not the money that is required to learn a technique. It is consistency that is required to practice the technique. Consistency. Warren Buffett, I'm going to use him as an example because he's the money man. How did he get so good? He saw what he wanted to do. And he said, let me learn about this. And let me start to practice doing this. Let me see where I can predict what's going to happen. And he started to practice, and he practiced, and he started to invest, and he invested, and he invested. And now that he's the go-to name anytime you want to invest. And what's the first thing he tells you? Invest for the long haul. You invest and you hold. Why? Because the payoff does not come instantaneously. This is why a lot of people were scammed in Bitcoin issues, because they wanted the get quick rich thing. It is not about a quick fix. You did not develop a low view of yourself quickly. That was over time. Yeah, but Angela, I need to move that right now. Yes. And the way to move it right now is to make the decision. But when you get tired enough of being where you are and you get mad enough, you see that anger, that thing, that fire, and you get tired enough of being where you are, you'll move. Nobody changes until they're ready. When you get mad enough to say, to hell with this, I've had enough of this shit. And then what do? Something happens and you're like, what the hell? You mean I gotta be angry to make it happen? No, you don't have to be angry to make it happen, but the anger was the energy required to move you from where you are to where you want to be. So it's not that the law isn't real. It is very real. This is why you don't plant in winter. The law of rhythm tells you plant in spring. May long weekend is the best time. The chance of frost, 0 there. Well, 10 to 0. Low to none. After the May long weekend, Labor Day, whatever you want to call it, May 18th. So that's when you plant. What did you do? You aligned yourself with it. Now here, just like jet fuel, to circumvent gravity, we built greenhouses so that we can have something all year round. But if now you don't stop to see where you are, how will you get the idea for the greenhouse so you know how to act? Now some people have gone so far as their greenhouses, some of them are underground, and they use thermal heat instead of having to get electricity. They grow their food using the heat of the earth itself. They aligned themselves with what's already there. What is that telling you? You have something that is already there that you need to align yourself with. It's not that the law doesn't work. It's not that the law isn't real. It is real. Vibration, I make you mad enough, you're like, you shake, everything moves. Polarity, love and hate. You can take yourself from hating somebody to, liking them a little bit, tolerating them a little bit more. You've just moved yourself with that vibration. But what has happened is we get discouraged. You cannot become discouraged. So you mean I have to get up every day and just pretend? No, don't pretend. Practice. If you say you are tired of where you're at, what action can you do? This is what I'm trying to tell you. What action can you do? Action is required. How do you know action is required? The seed sprouts. Does it not? It does something. It bursts forth. That's why I always like the story of bamboo. That farmer went out and planted bamboo seeds. 4 years they watered that patch of grass or land, wherever. It's not grass because it's empty because it has seeds in it. All they did was water it every day. Nothing showed up. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 months, 1 year, nothing. 2 years, nothing. 3 years, I've had enough. It dies. 4 years, because he stuck with it. He stuck with it. And then one morning he comes out and there's the shoot. And you're like, oh, I got bamboo. 30 days later, 30 to 60 days, they tell you, you got this whole thing, a whole field of bamboo. Try and get rid of bamboo now. Because it spent 4 years underground, it was not idle. The work that you put in front of that mirror on a daily basis to reinforce who you say you want to be is not in vain. It is not. The more you get in that mirror and you start doing the things you enjoy, the things you're good at marketing, well then market. Get your stuff out. Challenge yourself. How many hits on my site can I have today? How many sales can I have today? How many do you want? Well, you know what you're good at. So promote it and get it out and do it. The reward will come back. Today, maybe it will. Tomorrow, yeah. The next day, yeah. And you're walking all the way to the bank. Use what you have at your fingertips already, which is you. You are already there. But you see, we take for granted, because we don't know the law, and it's okay. We take for granted how we were raised. When we look back at how we were raised, we think, oh, the trauma. That's what we think about. But what we don't see is the good that came out of that. The skills you developed out of there. You developed skills. I'm using mine right now. Speaking. Memory. I developed all of those things. I have to use them to the best of my ability to get myself to where I want to go. When I do an audition for a book, what did somebody say to me? They're like, how many auditions have you done? I'm like, well, I do at least 10 a day. How many do you get? Sometimes I don't get any. Other days I'll get 2. So do I stop auditioning because I got rejected? It's either I'm good at what I do or I'm not. So this is why when you get in front of the mirror, you cannot allow the external to tell you what you know to be true about yourself. This is why it's hard when you believe the lie, because the experiences from the outside only reinforce what you know to be true of yourself. So do you see how it looks like it's a vicious cycle? And the only reason why it looks like a vicious cycle is because we haven't disrupted it. You have to disrupt the old behavior that you're doing to do the new behavior. How does somebody with confidence, like I was telling my son, you're not born with confidence, but you learn it. You learn confidence. Where do you lack confidence? Oh, is it speaking to people? Well, then practice. You say, you know what? I'm going to see 3 people today and I will say hello to them all. Because you have a problem with confidence speaking to people. So the solution is to speak to people. Just use one word, hello. And if they say, hey, how are you? Answer. I'm well. Thanks for asking. And you? Oh, I'm good. See ya. Look at that. Do it again to the next person. Do it again to the next person. Do it again to the next person. You build your confidence by actions. This is why you don't give up. You can't just get up tomorrow and say, it didn't work today, so I'm done, I stopped. It didn't work last week, I stopped. It didn't work this month, so I stopped. No. You get up and you do it because you're building your confidence. You build by practice. So when you get up in the morning and you tell yourself, I am, what are you? What do you say you are? Look for the weakness that you think you have. You know what? I feel ugly. Okay. So where's the solution? You notice how you say you feel? It's just a feeling. But then you look for confirmation in the mirror to confirm that you feel ugly. And you see, my hair is limp. My lips are too big. Oh, my nose takes up my whole face. But I bet you, get in the mirror. What is something you see about yourself that you can say, oh, I like that about me. I like that about me. Oh, I like that about me. Oh, I like that about me. I like this about me. Next thing you know, and if an idiot passes by and says, ugly heifer, oh, it'll sting you and make you feel a little bit funny. But what do you know? You know something about the law of correspondence. You know that the way someone speaks to you is how they speak to themselves. So what they're saying to you, they've already said it to themselves. So you know they dumb. So you don't take it on. But it's not something you... Whether you are living here or living in another dimension, you must live. Whether you are living here or in another dimension, you must live. It is not the thing that you are chasing. It is always going to be you, because as within, so without. That is law. If you say to yourself, you know what, I freak out and I panic too easily. Okay, so how do you practice staying calm? You say, you know what? When I go out, I know if I get a little panicky if I do this thing. Okay, I'm going to breathe and I'm going to say, okay, look, I can handle that. And you begin to do the thing that proves to you you can handle it. Every day you do it until such time that you don't have to tell yourself to be calm anymore. You just end up being that way because you've practiced it until it became second nature. It is the same thing that happened to you when you believed the lie. You're doing the same thing, whether it is with the lie or the truth. Well, how come they don't want me? How come they don't want me? How come they don't care about me? How come they don't love me? That's on them. Do you love you? Well, then you know what? Then you deserve a better relationship than that. You don't try to get somebody back who doesn't want you. What? How poorly do you see yourself? What's your ideal job? But that depends. What are you good at? List all the things. Build your resume. What are you good at? Well, I don't know what I'm good at. Are you good with people? Do you work well alone? Do you work well with numbers? Do you work well with words? You see how that comes down to just always you every time? It is always going to be you. It's not going to be me. Just like you can't be it for me, I can't be it for you. But the law is not your enemy and the law is not your friend. It just governs. And if you align yourself with it, watch your behaviors. They will tell you everything you need to know about yourself. And if you say, I don't like that I cuss people out all the time, well then, the next person you encounter, say nothing. Oh, they could be acting a fool. They could call you any kind of name in the book. You just said you don't like that you cuss people out. Well then practice silence over and over again and understand why you're practicing silence. Understand the law of correspondence that tells you this person is cranky as all hell because they're having an argument in their head already. They're not arguing with me. They're just bursting it out because they have to project it out. That's the law of gender. They have to project it out. Thus, that's it. So when you know that, well, then how can somebody rile you up? This is my point to you today. The law is always on. You see, we hear the law of attraction. That's actually the law of vibration, because everything moves, and the faster you move it, it becomes more attractive. It becomes magnetized. That's why things that are alike come together. That's the law of attraction. The law of assumption is the law of mentalism. The all is mind. You assume here. But what causes your assumption? The way you perceive yourself to be will cause you to assume something. So at the end of the day, everything comes down to who are you? Who are you? Who? I really want to know, who are you? You're the one wielding the law. Listen, am I making it rain? Nope. But what do? Every day I get up and I do the things I love. And money comes. I have to remind myself to not fret about it because that's how I grew up. So I have to remind myself, girl, you don't fret. And it's funny. A funny thing happened. I forgot I had points. And I was like, oh, shoot. Because I did a transfer and it takes 24 hours to do a transfer of funds. And I was like, oh, this sucks. I don't have any money. And all of a sudden I heard, you have points. Go trade them in. And I was like, oh, snap. I do. Because I have been diligent to remind myself that money comes in all the time. It does. I've been diligent. I can't give up because I didn't see it come in today. I just keep reminding myself that it does. Just like when I go and I audition and I say, okay, I audition for specific titles. I like uplifting things. So that means I'm not going to do an unsavory title, you know what I'm saying? So I do those, but I don't always get them. I don't. But that does not mean I stop. Because I love to narrate. Do what you love doing. Do what you are good at. Because it will build your confidence in yourself. When you build your confidence in yourself, then it is you who will bend reality. When you know the law, you can bend. You can shape. Because as within, so without, you are only ever shaping you. This is why you must become confident and sure of yourself. There's no other way around it. And the reason why that type of marketing is so popular is because the 48 laws of power, and this is why I don't like it. They're man-made. When people know where your pain point is, what do you think happens to you when they know where your pain point is? You're now vulnerable to them. You're not meant to be vulnerable to anyone. Your whole purpose is to develop the confidence in yourself. You must get up. If you say, I want to lose weight, sitting on the couch is not going to do it for you. But you say, you know what, my knees, my feet, all right. Look up, sit and be fit. Move your body. If you like to dance, well, turn on the music and dance to it. Because you say you want to lose weight, you want to be fit. You just want to be able to move your body. And you just want to be able to move your body. So move the body. But don't judge the body when you move it. Because why? If I say, see how fat you are? You can't even move. You can't even go up those stairs. Are you going to want to go up the stairs? No. This is why when you speak to yourself, you tell yourself what you are capable of doing. I can't believe I just ranted for 40 minutes. Listen, the law is real. When you know the law is there, you begin to align yourself with it. And it is there naturally, whether we believe it or not. Night and day. Well, that's the law. That's rhythm. Winter, spring, summer, fall is rhythm. Ask any woman with a menstrual cycle, and she'll tell you, oh, I know the rhythm. 26 days. That's law. So what do? You plan your holiday around 26 days. You align yourself with the law. You're doing it every day. But who is aligning with the law? That is what you're recreating. So who are you? You must have the confidence. The law is not out to beat you. The law doesn't even care that you exist because it doesn't have feelings. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't care that you exist, but if you know it, you can maximize your existence by being efficient with the law. So if you know that the all is mind, the universe is a mental creation, then get your mind in the right place. Your mind, your awareness of yourself. What are you aware of? What you're good at. Oh, you have a weakness? Strengthen it then. Do the thing that you say you're weak at until you become strong at it. Then you don't have a weakness anymore because the all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. Oh, but I feel. I know you feel because you have a body. They hurt my feelings. I know because you have a body. But what will you do with that feeling? That feeling exists because of how you think about what they said. It will always come back to what you have in your mind. So this is why when somebody says, sale, Sunday, 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 come on down, 80% off. You get all riled up. You go, there's a sale, I'm going. And you go. What's the whole point of that? Somebody appealed to your feelings. And that's what made you move. You're going to give your feelings over to someone? No. You will guard your feelings because they're your feelings. They are your feelings. Use them. They are there as a source of energy for you to use, not as a weapon for somebody to use against you. So this is why when you see correspondence happening, this person is behaving this way because as within them, so must they be. They have to show you who they are. So then you have to say, oh, you know what? I will take my money elsewhere. You're not going to, listen, you're not going to disrespect me and take my money also. No thanks. And you go somewhere else because you value yourself. Ooh, I got 10% battery power. You value yourself. Let me wrap it up for you. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. Whatever is projected into that mind, which is the law of gender, the masculine projects into the mind, which is feminine, and you will get the experience on the outside because everything has to correspond. Whatever's within has to match the outside, or else you wouldn't know what that fruit is. You go and you pick an apple off the tree. You didn't pick the apple off of a pear tree because a pear seed was not planted. An apple seed was planted. So as within, so without. Everything vibrates. Everything moves. It can't stand still, so you're never stuck. It's either you're continually doing the same thing you've always done or you're learning a new way to be. But everything moves. So you move. When I move, you move. Just like that. You go with the law. It moves, you move with it. Bend like the bamboo with the law or it will break you. It's bigger than you are. And this is what we have allowed to happen to ourselves. Because we don't know the existence of the law, we become broken by it because then it looks like life is shit. But it actually isn't. So after that vibration is polarity. You have two things that you're always moving between, where you are and where you want to be. They're not opposite. They're not opposite in their nature. They're just opposite in their positions. From to, they're opposite. From where you are to where you want to go, they're opposite. Just by position. But they're the same in nature. Hot and cold, love and hate, same in nature. How do you know they're the same in nature? The effect is going to be the same. I love you so much, I choke the life out of you. Or I hate you so much, I choke the life out of you. What's the outcome? Somebody's dead. How do you know what killed them? You don't. Because love and hate are the same. The effect is going to be the same, anything in that extreme. But then that pole now gives you a rhythm. You can count when this thing will occur again. You know your trigger. That is rhythm. You'll know your trigger. And I've already told you gender back at the beginning. You see, when you know those laws, you now begin to live, and you say, well, you know what? If I do this, this is going to happen. So then I will continue to do this, and I will continually get this result. We can't get a different result. Cause and effect. But that cause and effect happens because of what's inside of you. So spend your time bolstering. I don't care if somebody says, oh my God, but aren't you arrogant? Would you rather be arrogant and move through life? Or would you rather be a doormat and have somebody rake their shoes all over you? Choose. Because nobody wants to be a doormat. Well then, be arrogant. Arrogant just simply means you are sure of yourself. It does not mean you're beating somebody down with who you are. That is not what we do. You stiffen up that spine and you say, I am worthwhile. I have value. And you begin to show yourself where you have value. Because when you do that, now you are the one moving with the law. And as within, so without. You're weak on the inside, but you're going to be weak on the outside. And somebody will see that weakness and exploit it. Be strong. Be strong because you can. You are strong. Like I said at the very beginning, it is only because you believed a lie. But you are no longer in a position where you should be able to believe lies anymore. You are not a little child anymore. You now say, I see that. Oh, I see how I'm behaving. I see I'm cowering in the corner and I'm afraid. You know what? No. Where do I need courage? To speak? I will say my words. Slowly, but I'll say them. And you begin to say them over and over. If you say, I suck at saving money, so what's the solution? Practice saving. There's plenty of apps that will cause you to round up so you save money automatically. Begin to do that and watch your savings grow. But don't say, I'm not good with money. What do you want to be? Better with money. So begin to practice being better with it. Find an app that allows you to round up. Mocha if you're Canadian. Well Simple if you're Canadian. I don't know what y'all use in the US or wherever else you're from. But do you understand what I'm saying to you today? Look at your problem and the solution is within it. I just gave you 2 examples. I'm not good with money. So what do you want to be? What's the solution to be better with money? How does one get better with money? By practicing making better decisions with money. So if you feel incompetent, what are you competent with? Practice competency. How do you practice competency? By doing the thing from start to finish. Oh, I'm good at that. Then do it start to finish. That will bolster your confidence so that now when you get out there, you recreate you. What are you recreating? The confident and sure you. But you got to, the tree does not stop growing till you cut it down. So you can't stop doing what you're doing until you move on. But practice. I hope that makes sense. We're going to have this conversation again, I'm sure. Especially for the ones who are talking about SPs and money and things. It's not that you're getting the opposite. It is that you believe a lie. You believe you're not good enough. You believe you have no value. That's what you believe in yourself. Do you want that? Then the way to get around that is to start to see what is good about you and reinforce that. Because it is that reinforcement that will determine what you accomplish. It's only the strength of the person that accomplishes, as within, so without. This is why we say when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. What else are you going to make? Can't make orange juice with lemons. You have to use what you have to bring about the change you say you want. But you've got to stick with it because you are worthy. That's why you are valuable. That's why you deserve it. That's why you follow through. So if you get up today and you say, "Ugh, I can't, I don't feel like it." Are you valuable? Get up and do it because you are worthy and you deserve it. That's the attitude you need to take on in your life. Not that, oh, they said that about me. You don't have time for that. You have things you want to accomplish. So reinforce yourself because that reinforcement is not going to come from somewhere else. If you don't see your value and project it outward, how will somebody else see it? I know I preached, I'm sorry, but that's my gift. I grew up in church, so preaching it is. But I'm telling you what I live every day. Wherever I see that I struggle, I say, okay, how can I fix this? I don't like that behavior. And I begin to practice the new behavior. Every day you must be consistent and persistent with your behavior because you are the one who deserves good things. Then give yourself good things. The attitude of deservedness. If you walk around, how can you say you deserve good things? You don't even believe that. Start to see it in yourself. It's too far down somewhere, you can't find it? Dig a little deeper till you find it. Dig a little deeper till you find it. Because it is there. Anywho, Ms. M, I trust you're still here and that answered your question. I know my phone's gonna die. So perhaps I'll go live again. If you have a question and you want it answered, a specific one, let me know. And we'll talk about the law and how to align with it more. I've given you plenty of examples of how to align with the law. That's all you get to do. Align with it because it's there. Align with it so it don't break you. Not that it wants to break you. It doesn't have a vendetta against you. It does not. If you look at it,